So this is another video, my third video on autism in women and girls, and this one is around alexithymia. I'll put the spelling beneath the video, but this is predominantly present from my experience in autistic people, but can be present in ADHDers. It's kind of tricky with the diagnostics because they're now discovering that a lot more people with ADHD are also on the autism spectrum, so it's very hard to see which spectrum this comes under sometimes. But alexithymia is the difficulty in identifying your own emotions. So, for example, there are people who have ADHD and when they take their meds, they report that their emotions feel stronger. So anger feels stronger, happiness feels stronger. And this isn't a bad thing because it enables them to identify these individual emotions from within this kind of tangled ball of yarn of emotions where they can't identify one feeling from another. And this is quite a permanent state for some people where it's very, very challenging to be able to know what feelings you're feeling, what emotions you're feeling. And often what other people would experience as an emotional reaction, you might experience as a physical reaction. So, for example, with grief, it's commonly known that when you're grieving, you might feel physical feelings linked with the person that died. So, for example, if the person died of some heart-related disorder, you might be feeling a lot of pain in the heart area. If they died of some neurological disorder, you may get a lot of headaches. And that could be potentially interpreted as anxiety around those symptoms. Your body kind of recreates those symptoms because you're grieving that person. You're anxious about maybe those symptoms, especially if it's a family member. Is this genetic? Is it going to happen to me? Often anxiety is felt as sickness, nausea. So particularly young children who also maybe perhaps haven't figured out how to interpret their feelings. Instead of feeling anxious or saying they feel anxious, they'll say, I feel sick, I don't want to go to school. Or I've got a headache, I don't want to go to school. Or you might feel a pain in your shoulders when you're actually very angry and you're not aware that you're angry until you get this pain. And you can experiment with, like, if I punch, does that pain go away? Does it get stronger? And so by noticing physical feelings in your body, you can start to link them with emotions. So instead of saying, okay, I can now feel anger, I know what that feels like, you're like, okay, I now know if I get a pain here, that means I'm angry. And so you can start to learn your body's language in terms of emotions rather than the verbal emotional language that other people use. So instead of saying I'm anxious or I'm sad or I'm angry, you say I'm feeling sick, that possibly means I'm anxious. I've got pain in my shoulder, that might mean I'm angry. My heart's racing, that might mean I'm happy or I'm excited to see someone. And so it's about learning your own body's language in order to interpret what they mean for you, so that you can gauge how you feel towards another person. And I think, this is part of one of the reasons why it can be quite hard for some neurodivergent people to gauge red flags in relationships, because for many of us, it's very hard to know how we're feeling in the presence of another person. So learning what safety feels like, learning what an absence of anxiety feels like, those are really important ways in order to be able to identify if someone is a good person to be friends with or to get into a relationship with. So I hope this video helps explain a little bit about what alexithymia is and also how you can work with it, how you can learn to understand your own body's signals with your own body's language. Have a good week, everyone.